Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. And, well, yesterday was the Mexican E-Prix, the second round of Season 11 of Formula E. And this is just going to be a quick roundup review, whatever you want to call it, of that race. Kind of boring, actually. For a Formula E race, not very much happened. There was not a lot of overtaking. But this is the race, I will admit, attack mode did enhance it somewhat. Because if we didn't have attack mode, we wouldn't have got that one lap where Oliver Rowland went from 4th to 1st, took the win. And it was 3 really good moves that got him there. Can't deny him that. He has been fantastic over the last year. And even in the first 2 races of 2024-2025, Oliver Rowland has been really, really good. And if he keeps it up, will be a title contender. Which I think at the start of this season, I kind of wrote him off as a 1-season hit. I didn't think it was going to drag it out to 2. So I was only very wrong about that. Jaguar as well are really letting me down at the moment. So my predictions for Formula E were once again well off. And we're only 2 races into the year. So it's going great. Great start to 2025. There are not many places to overtake on this Mexico track, which I believe has been an issue there before. So get rid of it. Take it off the calendar. I don't remember last year's race being particularly fun to watch either. But this was a poor race. And honestly, I'm surprised Porsche didn't win because they were the dominant force all weekend. They were quick in practice. They were quick in qualifying. And they were by far the best in the race until the very end. And they were unlucky more than anything. Oliver Rowland just happened to have 2 minutes of attack mode left when the safety car went in. And he got the job done before the next safety car came out. So unlucky for Porsche, they deserve this one because they were unbeatable all weekend. Pascal Wehrlein always goes well in Mexico. Antonio Felix da Costa has had a great start to the year. He leads the championship after finishing twice in the first 2 races. If he can keep that consistency up, that's what he was lacking last year. At the start of the year, his consistency was awful. I think he had 1 or 2 points finishes, but second half of the year, he was a demon. He got 3 wins in a row. He got himself right back up there. He needs to do that over the whole season, and this was a great start. So the Portuguese driver is another one to watch. It's actually very much impossible to tell who is going to be the drivers in the title fight for Formula E this year, because there's a lot of drivers doing well at the moment and driving well. I think the one I'm most disappointed by so far is Stoffel van Dorn, who I said was going to have a massive year for Maserati and be right up there. So far that hasn't materialised. He was 7th here, and I don't think he scored points at the first race, so it's not going great. I thought he would be Mr. Consistent, and that's not really turning out to be the case. Jaguar, though, they are in a rut. That advert we talked about really was the start of a downhill shift for them, because since that advert came out, their Formula E team has gone to pot. Mitch Evans drove well in Sao Paulo, but Nick Cassidy, down the back of the field the entire race, and scoring no points so far this season. 2 races, no points for Nick Cassidy. I think he's finished 17th and 15th. It's been atrocious for him. There's no points for him. Mitch Evans, he was 3rd. He won in Sao Paulo, in fact. And he wasn't really in the fight here. He was in 8th place when contact took him out of the race. Poor result for Jaguar. No points here in Mexico. They've only got the 1 points finish from Mitch Evans so far. Considering they were the team to beat towards the end of last year, and honestly I thought they'd carry that form into this year, very, very disappointing from them. Porsche looked the team to beat. Antonio Felix da Costa has been strong in both races. Pascal Wehrlein, of course, retired in Sao Paulo, but he got a podium here. That means out of the 6 podium positions so far this season, Porsche have half of them, and I think Jaguar, Nissan and possibly DS Penske, I've actually forgotten, they have 1 each. So it shows you how strong Porsche are, that even 2 races into the season, they are being much more strong in terms of results they're getting than every other team in the field. So they're the team to beat, I do believe. In fact, actually, if it carries on like this, it'll be a straight fight between da Costa and Wehrlein for the championship. But yeah, maybe this will be the year that Porsche win the Constructors' title, which I think I said a few years ago they definitely will at some point. So I kind of predicted it, but then I do think Porsche winning the Formula E championship was always on the cards. I don't know how long they're going to be in Formula E because the technology is kind of already being left behind. It's not just other electric motorsport series we're seeing dying out. They're not springing up either. And that's because we're kind of skipping over electric now and everyone's turning their focus to hydrogen. I think BMW announced recently they're moving over to hydrogen power or focusing on it instead of focusing on new electric vehicles. So electric's kind of already had its day and it was very brief and it wasn't particularly good. But Formula E made it work and it really has been the torchbearer for electric racing. And nothing else has even come close to achieving what Formula E has achieved. But it does make me worry about the future of Formula E because, you know, Porsche, they've got their WEC efforts. Porsche are a big brand in GT racing. They're pretty much everywhere in terms of that. Obviously owned by Volkswagen as well, who are moving into Formula 1. They might not see a future in Formula E. Same goes for Jaguar if they can survive, because clearly everyone in charge of that company is insane. If they can get for another year, what will their future be? Will they just cut the Formula E program because they can't afford it? Will they have a different idea for the future? Maybe they'll stick with Formula E as long as they can. Same goes for every team on the grid, really. Formula E right now might have some value, but for how much longer, I'm not sure. And I think Formula E is going to have a very complicated future. But for this championship, for Season 11, 2025, we've got something like 14 races left. It's too early to really call anything. Porsche coming out the gate strong. Jaguar, Andretti, and DS Penske, Maserati somewhat. They've all looked strong at times, but they've been a bit more backwards and forwards up the field. Envision haven't really done much this year. Mahindra don't look particularly strong. So it's going to be the usual runners. KRT, whatever they're called. I've already forgotten their name. They had another bad weekend. Lola, Yamaha haven't scored any points yet. So it's really the usual teams that are right up there at the moment. I think the fight is going to be between them. So it's really a case of pick your winner from the teams you would expect to be winning this thing. And out of them, at the moment, Porsche look very, very strong. We've still got a very long way to go. Someone else can kick it into high gear. Maybe Jaguar can get their act together and start scoring decent points. Nissan, they're doing much better than I thought they would. DS Penske, always strong. They got a great driver lineup. Maserati, at some point, I'm sure will do better than they're doing now. There's plenty of talent in the Formula E field, and I think it's going to be a very interesting season. This race was not the most interesting. I did not really enjoy the Mexico E-Prix. The Sao Paulo E-Prix was way better. This one, I don't know. It just wasn't very interesting. At least they've sorted out the drafting issue, which I think was a problem at last year's Mexico E-Prix with cars following each other to save energy. That hasn't been an issue at the first two races, so hopefully that's something that carries on through the rest of the season. Attack mode, yeah, they have improved it. They've done a good job. I still don't like it. It's still too gimmicky, but this version of it is better than the version they've had before. As far as the championship, honestly, Formula E is usually very messy, and as the championship goes along, I'm sure it's going to get messier than it is now. That's going to keep it interesting to watch, and I will do that all year, as well as all the other motorsport upcoming. I've been talking about Formula Regional Oceania, but Formula Regional Middle East and Formula 4 Middle East start next weekend. We have the Bathurst 12 Hours coming up, NASCAR, IMSA, Supercars, WRC. That's all starting soon. We've got Race of Champions earlier in March, I think, this year. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.